This week on the Compliance Tip of the Day, we're going to look at the ubiquitous term of fraud, waste, and abuse and explain why it's important for a compliance professional. The Compliance Tip of the Day. This is the podcast where we bring you daily insights and practical advice on navigating the ever-evolving landscape of compliance requirements. Whether you're a seasoned compliance professional or just starting your journey, my aim in this podcast is to provide you with a bite-sized, actionable tip to help you stay on top of your compliance game. And now I'd like to say a few words about the latest podcast on the Compliance Podcast Network, AI Today in 5 with 5. Thrilled to announce the inaugural episode of my latest podcast series, AI Today in 5. I wanted to do a short, curated set of stories and news stories about AI for the compliance professional and the greater business professional. You can check it out on Megaphone, the Compliance Podcast Network, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Apple, or wherever great podcasts are listened to. Check out AI Today in 5. We continue our week-long exploration of fraud, waste, and abuse by considering how a corporate compliance program and a CCO can help fight waste in a corporation. When compliance professionals hear the phrase fraud, waste, and abuse, our attention gravitates towards fraud. Obviously, fraud makes headlines, triggers enforcement actions, and carries reputational risk. But waste, the second component in that trio, costs corporations millions of dollars annually and often goes unnoticed. Waste is not a result of intentional conduct. Rather, it is the unnecessary, careless, or inefficient use of resources. Left unchecked, waste can sap profits, drain morale, and erode organizational culture. Worse, it creates vulnerabilities that open the door to fraud and abuse. As compliance officers, we have a role to play in fighting waste, not simply as a financial drain, but as a risk factor that undermines long-term business sustainability. One of the most promising tools in fighting waste is predictive analytics. Well, let's start with what is waste. Waste is a misuse of corporate resources without necessarily crossing the line into fraud. It can include excessive travel or entertainment, over maintenance of equipment that does not need servicing, duplication of tasks due to poor communications, paying for unused licenses, subscriptions, or services, or poorly designed processes that consume time and labor unnecessarily. Unlike fraud, waste is not intentional. An employee may not realize that expensing unnecessary upgrades or double booking a supplier constitutes waste. Yet the cumulative impact is enormous. According to some industry surveys, corporate waste can cost companies millions annually, much of which is preventable through better monitoring and smarter resource allocation. So for the compliance professional, waste does not carry the same drama as fraud or even abuse, but it represents a critical vulnerability for corporations. The financial cost is real and the cultural cost is corrosive. The compliance implications can be significant. Compliance officers can transform their programs from passive monitors to proactive risk managers in the area of waste. Predictive analytics allows compliance to detect inefficiencies before they metastasize, conserve resources, strengthen credibility with leadership. Most importantly, it positions compliance as a strategic partner in building a culture of accountability and efficiency. When regulators demand real-time monitoring and organizations face constant pressure to do more with less, fighting waste is not optional. It should be a compliance imperative going forward. So what are today's 3 key takeaways? Number 1, waste is more than inefficiency. Waste is misuse of resources, whether intentional or not. 2, predictive analytics reduces waste. You can cut costs and improve reliability through predictive analytics. And 3, compliance has a role in fighting waste. Waste may appear to be an operational issue, but it can easily be seen as a compliance issue as well, and it's one that you should think about in your best practices compliance program. I hope you will join us tomorrow where we will take a look at perhaps the most misunderstood of the 3. We're going to look at abuse. things that I'm happy to do for you, the compliance profession, is if you have a question or a series of questions you would like some compliance tips on, I'm happy to take any requests that you might want, certainly anonymize them, and give you a quick tip, either one quick tip or maybe a week's worth of quick tips. So if you have any tips you want about your compliance program, you can shoot me an email at tfox@tfoxlaw.com. This podcast was created and produced